It was a cold November morning in Chicago when Ryan Matthews boarded the train to downtown for what felt like just another day at his marketing job. He had his earbuds in, scarf wrapped tightly around his neck, and eyes fixed on his phone, scrolling through social media like most others commuting beside him. But what he didn't know was that this particular morning would plant a seed of change in his life, one that would grow slowly, silently, and beautifully over time. Ryan was the kind of person who didn't believe in signs or coincidences. Life was numbers, logic, and hard work. He had built a stable career, lived in a decent apartment, and rarely stepped outside his comfort zone. But there was something missing, a feeling he couldn't shake off. It was as if his life was moving, but he wasn't really living. As the train rocked along the tracks, Ryan noticed a woman seated across from him. She looked to be in her late 50s with short silver hair, glasses perched on her nose, and a notebook in her lap. She wasn't staring at a phone like everyone else. She was writing. Every so often she'd pause, smile slightly, and continue scribbling in her book. Ryan found himself curiously watching her. He didn't mean to be rude, but there was something about her presence that made the crowded train feel a little quieter. When the train came to a sudden stop due to a signal malfunction, people around them groaned and sighed. Ryan removed one earbud and looked out the window, but the woman just kept writing, unbothered. Then, to his surprise, she looked up, caught his glance, and smiled. "Writing is the one thing that keeps the chaos away," she said warmly. Ryan blinked, unsure if she was talking to him or just thinking out loud. But when she closed her notebook and turned toward him, he realized she had intended the comment for him. "Oh yeah," he replied, awkwardly pulling the other earbud out. "Are you a writer?" "Sort of," she said with a chuckle. "I write letters to people I haven't met yet." Ryan tilted his head. "That's interesting. What do you mean?" She smiled. "Life is full of encounters, Ryan. Some brief, some lasting. But none of them are random. I like to write letters to future strangers. Because sometimes, we meet someone for a reason we don't understand until much later." He hadn't told her his name, but she somehow knew it. He sat up straighter. "How did you?" "I overheard the conductor checking your monthly pass." "Don't worry," she said, laughing. "I'm not a stalker." Ryan chuckled, easing back into his seat. "That's actually kind of a cool concept, writing to people you haven't met. But do you ever actually give the letters to them?" She tapped the notebook. "Only when I know it's time. You'd be surprised how many people need to hear something just at the right moment." The train jolted back to life, and after a few more stops, Ryan's destination came up. As he stood to leave, the woman tore out a page from her notebook and handed it to him. "This one's for you," she said. "Read it when you're ready." He took it, unsure of what to say, and walked off the train. By the time he looked back through the window, she was already writing again. At work, Ryan had a hard time focusing. That woman's words echoed in his mind. Who was she? Why had she given him the letter? And why did it feel like it meant something? He waited until he got home that night to unfold the letter. The handwriting was elegant, and the message was simple. "Dear you, I don't know your name, but I know you've been feeling stuck. Not in a bad way. Just quietly lost. Like something in your soul is sleeping. That thing you used to dream about. You've put it on a shelf. Take it down. Dust it off. Start again. Not because it's easy, but because life doesn't bring people into our path by chance. This message found you for a reason. Don't ignore the pull inside you. The world is waiting for you to show up as yourself. Sincerely, a fellow traveler." Ryan stared at the letter for a long time. His throat tightened. No one knew that he used to paint, used to stay up all night creating pieces of art that once gave him joy. But work, bills, and adult responsibilities had buried that passion years ago. How could a stranger have known? He dug into the back of his closet that night and found his old art supplies. Brushes, acrylics, even a few blank canvases. Covered in dust but still usable. And something inside him stirred. In the weeks that followed, Ryan started painting again. One night a week at first. Then two. Then almost every night after work. His apartment transformed into a small gallery of colors and creativity. He posted a few pieces online, not expecting much, but they gained attention. Comments, compliments, even requests to purchase prints. But more importantly, he felt alive again. Then, 2 months later, Ryan was walking through Grant Park on a chilly Saturday afternoon when he heard someone playing a violin near the fountain. A young woman in a red coat, eyes closed, playing with passion and heart. Her music moved something inside him. When she finished, he walked over and dropped a few dollars into her open case. "That was beautiful," he said. She smiled. "Thanks. It's how I keep my sanity." They talked. Her name was Emily. She had just moved to the city from Oregon and was struggling to stay afloat while trying to make it as a musician. They bonded over the challenges of chasing dreams in a world that often told them to settle down. Over the next few weeks, they kept bumping into each other. At the same cafe, at the same corner, once even at the grocery store. Felt intentional. Ryan told her about the woman on the train and the letter. Emily was stunned. "That's wild," she said. "My grandma used to say the same thing, that people come into your life exactly when you need them, not a moment too soon or too late." One evening after a street performance, Emily looked at him and said, "You know, I think you were that person for me. The right person at the right time." Ryan smiled. "Funny, I was just thinking the same thing." Over time, their connection deepened. She encouraged him to put on his first art exhibition at a local gallery. He helped her record her first EP. They supported each other, challenged each other, and most importantly, reminded each other why they started doing what they loved in the first place. The exhibition was a success. On opening night, as people admired his work and music played softly in the background, Ryan saw a familiar figure enter the room, the woman from the train. He walked over, smiling in disbelief. "I can't believe it's you." She looked around the gallery and nodded. "Looks like you read the letter." "I did," he said. "And it changed everything." She handed him another page from her notebook. "Another letter?" he asked. "No," she said. "A thank you. For reminding me why I write them." Ryan unfolded the paper later that night. It read, "Dear Ryan, you reminded me that sometimes, it's not about changing the world all at once. It's about planting one seed, encouraging one heart, and trusting that the ripple will reach further than you'll ever know. Keep painting. Keep believing. People like you are the reason this world still has magic." As the months passed, Ryan and Emily grew their creative paths together. Their small successes grew into larger ones. They began hosting art and music nights in the community, bringing together people who had long abandoned their dreams or never dared to start. They weren't trying to save the world, just light a